friends, it's Sarah here, back with another process video for my summer craft challenge. Today is day 3 and the prompt is to use a large photo. So that's what I'm doing. As you can see here, I have an 8.5 by 11 photo that I plan on using, and this is a picture of the bridge. I live in Michigan, so this is the bridge that we take from Detroit over to Canada. And I loved this picture. It was early morning when we were going across for my brother's wedding, and there was no traffic. So it ended up being a really pretty picture. And so I want to scrapbook it, and this layout will go in my album kind of as the introduction page to that weekend of wedding celebration. So obviously when you use a picture this size, you are limited as to how you can embellish around it. And so as you can see at the top of the screen, I have already gone through and pulled out a lot of blue elements that I plan to cluster and group all down the left side of the photo. I'm taking my sanding block because my trimmer blade is in need of replacement, and I just take that and sand off the little bits. So I'm going to mount this, or adhere this rather, to the white cardstock, and then the white cardstock to the black, and it's all just a very graphic frame. Obviously a lot of contrast there between the white and the black. And so I thought to keep it less chaotic, I mean, trust me, it's going to get chaotic with the embellishments, but I would not use all the colors. So I kept it pretty close to the blues and the aquas, and maybe if there was an element that had a slight additional color that was small and, you know, not very invasive, I used it. But for the most part, it's pretty much tones of blue, or shades of blue rather, and aqua. So I'm adhering this very large picture down, and all the white space to the left will be covered. And my goal when I started to do this was, as I was laying things down, tucking them in and around, I was noticing that some of the elements were covering the black border of the photo, and some of them were not. And I did not like the look of the inconsistency. I either wanted the whole border covered or I didn't. So you will see as I go that I made a conscious effort to make sure that that black border of the photo ends up being covered. And I have cut out quite a bit because once you see what I'm doing, it just becomes a matter of finding placement for things and monkeying around, and nobody wants to watch me push product around. So that was a sheet from the paper pad, or is it paper pad, journaling pad, some sort of pad, from Chamel's Box of Crayons collection. And what I end up doing later is I take my label punch and I punch some labels out of that cloud pattern. But as you can see, through the magic of editing, I have started to group things together. And I was very excited that I got to get that passport on the layout, and then I end up, it doesn't make the cut. But you do need a passport to travel from the United States over to Canada. As they often remind us at the border, they are not the 51st state, and I don't blame them. So as you can see, I just continue to add, group things together, cover things up. And it's really here where I start to notice that I need to cover up that whole black edge. It doesn't make sense in my mind to have it a start and a stop and a start and a stop if it just won't flow for me. So I thought I need to make sure that the elements I'm bringing in are going to eventually be able to cover that black line, because otherwise it's going to look silly. And really, I have the real estate to use that left side of that photo and for the main subject, which is the Ambassador Bridge, to not be, it's not being covered up by any stretch of the imagination. So I decided that the little "always take the scenic route" will be my title. I don't know what I was pointing at. Probably my husband. And what that was is it was actually a tag from a Cartabella travel collection that said "always take the scenic route," and I just put that behind that little frame. And I don't know where that frame came from. It was just in one of my die cut packs. And I thought, that's perfect. It works, and it's contained, and I love it. So as you can see, I'm just building more and more up, and I'm grabbing a adhesive dot for a wood veneer button that I peeled the backing off of, and I'm just gonna stick it down now with one of these glue dots. There we go. So off camera, I did the journaling, and it just says, "Our view as we head over the bridge to Canada for Joe and Molly's wedding." And really, there's nothing more to say about that. As I said, the rest of the stories and the weekend experience will be shared in more layouts to come in my album. So I wanted to make sure that the right side of the layout felt connected with all the craziness of the left side. And what I mean by that is I needed something to go off the edge. So as you can see, that cloud up there at the top, the very top cloud goes over the white border. But the cloud on the left is actually off the edge. And so I wanted something to interact with the edge on the right. And this is really how I solved it. I kept it simple. I just found some of the castaway pieces from parts that I cut off and repeated them on the other side. And here I realized I put it up too high, and the way the sticker was interacting with the light pole looked funny. So I'm pushing it down. So we're just sticking elements down in little clusters, making them fit. A lot of what I did was pop up elements with the little foam squares. And I've stamped, I believe, a little sentiment down at the bottom. It says "really, really excited." And now I'm going to use this Night of Navy to stamp the date. And that is going to call this one finished. I love the simplicity of it. I love that I was able to get a bunch of stuff on there. I will show you up close how it all comes together. So as you can see, there's lots of layers, but not too high. Things tucked in. I kept it simple as far as the color scheme goes. And yeah, I had a good time. So thank you for stopping by. And if you're playing along, I greatly appreciate it. This is the third prompt of the series. And so check back tomorrow when my process video for the fourth one comes up. Thank you for stopping by, and please like and subscribe before you leave.